Okay, welcome to Pitch Anything to Anyone Better and Faster with AI. This is a dry run for a workshop that we're going to be doing in France coming the end of March, which I'm quite excited about. And we're going to see how this works here online. I'm here, I'm Bryan Cassady. Next to me is Frederic Martin. As we said, we're in a funny situation where normally we'd be in two separate places, but we're actually sitting in one place today. And we'll go forward there. I'm hoping that we can make this conversation as interactive as possible. And if I look, I think we're at 19, 20 people right now. This is easy.
21.
So you can just ask questions. Just stop us, talk to us, ask us whatever you want. Say, Bryan, I don't believe that. It actually makes a lot more fun. But you can also, if you're shy, you can put things up in the chat and we'll go forward from there. So the starting point of this talk is about something quite important, which is, can you keep on admitting people? Is we're talking about pitching, and a lot of people have different definitions of what a pitch is. And I think for a lot of people, the definition of a pitch is a pitch deck. Okay. I think that's actually a bad way to think about it. And I think there's a better way to think about it. So whatever your job, whatever your industry, you are pitching all the time. At the most fundamental level, a pitch is about changing or confirming what people think and getting them to take some sort of action. You can think about a pitch in basically the following format. What do people believe before you talk? And what do people believe after your talk? And what are the action you want them to take? And your pitch is that thing that happens between the two. And what is a good pitch? A good pitch is something that grabs attention. It's clear, it asks for action. And if you're a judge in a jury evaluating presentations, you'll definitely say it's short because too often presentations are too long. And now I know there's a basic feeling that you've got a lot to say, that nothing that you're saying can be that boiled down to a few minutes. But I want to give you a challenge. I bet you didn't know the talk that earned Watson and Crick the Nobel Prize for the discovery of DNA was a little less than 5 minutes. If they can explain the theory of life, the secret of life in less than 5 minutes, surely you can pitch almost any business that you're running in the same amount of time. We work with companies, big, small, lots of different industries. Our best estimate is around 40% of pitches fail. And by failing, we mean that people don't understand what the pitch is about, which is often there. Failure could be the content is not convincing, or failure is when results don't follow after the pitch. Today, if you listen carefully, we're going to show you a process. And I feel like one of these hucksters on the street saying, follow me, we'll give you the answer to everything. But no, I can tell you, if you follow what we're talking about, you can reduce your failure rate from 40% around to about 5%. And we'll show you ways to make everything faster, better, and easier with AI. A really important disclaimer, so we don't get off on the wrong foot. We're not suggesting that AI make your pitch. What we want to do is show you a way to work together with AI. So a starting point, who are we? I see some friendly faces here, so I know who you are. But I'll introduce myself again. I'm Bryan Cassady. I'm an entrepreneur. I've built 11 companies in six different countries. I'm also a teacher and a mentor. I teach at some top business schools, and I teach about 5,000 students per year. And I've written a book on innovation, and I'm writing right now a book on pitching. And one of the things you can do in your feedback from this thing is tell me if it's worth the time to finish the book. Finishing a book is a lot of work, guys. I also do research on AI and creativity. My personal mission is to coach, train 1 million entrepreneurs by 2027. And as part of training entrepreneurs, you need to train them to pitch. And here's my friend, Frederic.
Hi, I'm Frédéric Martin, so you will probably recognize my French accent, so not as fluent as Bryan, of course. I am a business coach and consultant. I'm also the creator of the Adapt and Fly system and tools for companies to adapt in fast times of digital and AI. and I make programs and products with teams. And too often, what I see is that great ideas don't make it to the market. And one reason for that good ideas don't make it to the market, is that there is a failure in the pitch. So pitching is in fact a big part of the business development process, even in not only in small organizations, but large as well. Why does it fail? Why it is important, sorry. Making a good pitch is actually a powerful process, because by doing that, you clarify your ideas. So you clarify also your value proposition. So I believe pitching is critical, whatever size of your company. And that's why I'm working today with Bryan.
So one of the things that we'll get to is a story of how we started working together. But just suffice to say, for right now, we have similar objectives, trying to help people pitch better. And we have different skills, and when you have different skills, you bring them together and you do things that you wouldn't do otherwise. As I said, pitching is important. Your pitch gets your message across. It presents you the real you to the world. It makes things happen. If you can't pitch, everything becomes a lot more difficult. And as I was saying earlier, I'm making a real commitment to this. I've got a book. It's about 35,000 words right now about how to pitch with a whole series of tools. I have a course, which if you stay to the end and you fill out the evaluation form, you'll get a free copy of the course online. And we also have some pitch making tools, which we're going to present in the talk today. And the idea is bringing these things together. You create sort of an ecosystem, which helps people do stuff better. Now, I'm betting all of you have a hand. And I'm going to try to give you things in an easy 5-part process so that you can remember them. So there's 5 principles, 5 minutes, 5 how-tos, a 5-step process, and 5 ways to make a pitch better. I think if you try it, and in fact, we'll summarize everything down into 5 sentences at the end. Before we give you the principles, I want to give you a short pitch. We do great hands-on trainings in pitch coaching. I know from experience we can help anyone, anywhere, pitch anything better to anyone. With our tools and methods, you go from a blank page to a great pitch fast. Our courses and trainings are usually fun, not always. Sometimes you have to work. And we also got lots of free stuff to give away, so you can try things out before you sign up for a course, but I hope you will. Okay, here we are into the bulk of the presentation. The principles. The first thing that's really important about a pitch is to realize there's a mindset to pitching. The mindset of a pitch is not about a pitch deck. The mindset of a good pitcher is telling a story. What does a story has? It has 3 parts. A story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's about practice and feedback. And it's about working to improve things that you're doing. And then lastly is what you need to do is you make your slides. Frederick's letting people into the waiting room right now.
Sorry, guys.
Here. So the important part here is getting away from the idea that a pitch is a pitch deck. You don't need a pitch deck to make a pitch. I've been an angel investor, and I can tell you some of the best pitches I've ever seen are not with a pitch deck. What you do need is you need something to say and something to ask for. All right, we've gone through one of the 5 things. Next one, a good pitch is usually 5 minutes or less. When you pitch, less is more. I tell people to focus on 5 minutes because research has shown that people lose interest after about 10 minutes. And 5 is around a good target because that's about how long you can really get people. And I know if I tell people to target 5 minutes, they'll come up with a 15-minute pitch. So do yourself a favor, target 5 minutes, make it a real 5 minutes, and make it less. The next are 5 how-tos. The first how-to is to realize that your pitches go through a filter. In fact, everything you talk about goes through a filter. It goes first through our reptile brain. I prefer to call this your crocodile brain because I can imagine a crocodile rather than I can a general reptile. This is not your reflective brain. It's your primitive brain. It's our feeling brain. And what you need is somebody has to feel something before you can get them to think and pay attention. You need to get people to feel something before you ask them to think. The second part in the how-tos of a pitch, and this one is going to seem really difficult, especially for all those Americans who grew up writing their 500-word essays with a conclusion at the end, is you need to learn to lead with your conclusions. I'm going to read you a letter, and it's a little bit of time here, but it's important to demonstrate what's there. It's a letter to Shirley from Lucy. She says, "Dear Shirley, remember last Saturday afternoon when I was playing in the park with my boyfriend and you came over and he told me that when my back was turned, you kissed him. And also on Sunday when you came to my house and my mom made you a tuna fish salad for lunch and you said, yeah, that's the worst salad I've ever ate. And yesterday when my cat brushed against your leg, you kicked her and threatened to sick your dog Monster on her. Well, for all of these reasons, I hate you and I no longer want to be your friend." This is how we've been taught to make presentations. We give people the facts and we tie it up at the end. In fact, you should do things completely different. Let me give you another way she could have written this letter. She says, "Dear Shirley, I hate you. Here are my reasons. You stole my boyfriend, you insulted my mother, and you scared my cat." This is the way you should start your pitch. Don't give everybody things at the end. Give them the stuff up front. The next part of the how-to is to realize that, in fact, it's content that drives a pitch. It's good content. You can make a great pitch deck. Bad content, you have a pitch deck which has nothing in it. When I work with companies, I spend most of my time working on getting them to focus on what I call the 4 Ps. The 4 Ps are the problem, promise, proof, and payoff. What's the thing you want to do? Why? What do they get out of it? Why should they believe you? And how is their life different? Those are the foundations of any good pitch. They explain the problem, the solution, and why they should make a decision. If you got these right, there are 2 more: profit and passion. They sort of wrap up the package, and we'll see to it in just a second. The last thing you want to do in a pitch, remember, beginning, middle, and end. Here's a simple recipe to follow when closing your next pitch. In 1 sentence, write down what you want people to do. Then provide 3 solid supporting arguments. And then think about the last thing. If you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, what's the thing that stays up on the screen while you're doing your questions and answers? It shouldn't be a picture of you. It should be a picture of the benefit that you're offering the person that's watching your pitch. This last one of the how-tos is the most important. Practice, practice, practice. Feedback on a pitch is important, but we usually ask for the wrong feedback. Imagine you pitch your great idea to your mom. She's almost always going to say, hey, that's fantastic, Brian. I've never had a more clever son than you. And it's true. She doesn't have a more clever son than me. Instead, you should try asking your mom the following. Mom, I know you love me. Can you please be honest with me? Please tell me if this thing failed. Why did it fail? What didn't you like in my pitch? And what you'll find is by getting negative feedback, you'll go much further. In fact, there's a lot of proof out there showing that the best pitch makers are focused on negative feedback much more than positive feedback. Of course, it feels great when somebody says your pitch was great, but it's not going to help you make a better pitch. The most important thing you need to know about the process is the following. Anyone want to guess what the most important part of it is? I don't see the chat right now, so I can't actually see it, so I'm going to just go forward. The most important thing is realizing that your pitch goes over time. It gets over time. You start with a general idea. It gets more and more complex, and sometimes it starts getting simpler. And most of our presentations are made at the time when things are still pretty complex. What you need to do is you need to get to the point where things are simple. We've all had great and lousy teachers. Great teachers work hard to make things simple. The lousy teacher shares all the complexity in their mind with you. It's the same with your pitch. When you first finish, It's probably about as complex as it will ever be. A great pitch is cut, reduce, shaved down, simplified. You need to put in the work and make it simple. And what you'll find is AI is an amazing tool to do this. To summarize a lot of this, I have a quote, and I like quotes, and I like Mark Twain. Mark Twain's, I don't know if he's the real originator of this quote, but he says, I apologize for the length of this letter. If I'd had more time, it would have been shorter. It can be said the same thing about most pitches. I apologize for the length of this pitch. If I'd had more time, it would have been shorter. Well, we don't have Mark Twain here to help you write a short pitch, but Frederick is here to help, and he's going to take you through a 5-step process using AI and 2 tools, which will tell you how to get things together. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch place. So I'm on the other place.
Can you see me, guys, now?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay, great. So I'm not Mark Twain, but I'm going to illustrate what we've just seen and make it very concrete how we can use AI here. So first, I would like to start with you to explain a process. The pitch process is a 5-step process. And to make it very easy for you to remember, we have a 5-letter acronym where P is for purpose, I is for ideate, T is for terminate, close, C is for create, and H is for hear feedback. And let me guide you through the process. And for that, we are going to use an example. We are using the example of the making up of our course pitch. And then you'll be able to see how straightforward it is, so you can use that process too for you and for your business. And this is a fast and easy way to make up a 3 to 5 minute talk. But before we get there, into the details of that process, let me first explain how we came up to that, how it all started. It started in Bryan. And then he told me about a great new way how to use AI for writing a pitch faster and better. I see the internet connection is okay. Is the internet connection for you okay?
It's fine.
It's fine. Okay. So Bryan explained a great new way how to use AI for writing a pitch faster and better. Well, frankly speaking, between us at that time, I didn't believe AI could do anything great, because my experience so far was the following one. Let the AI do everything, and with mediocre output as a result. But in fact, Bryan's method is something different. Bryan's method is some deep thinking with the collaboration of AI. So it's not about giving in things, it's about collaborating with the AI as like 2 persons. And what is good, that's where you get a great first start. And that's the promise here. The promise here is not to have something very good at the beginning, is to have a good start, right? And then now I'm going to show you further the process. So, but before we go into the process, so if you're making a pitch, the first thing you really need to do is to figure out who you want to talk to. And what I see when I consult companies, large or small, I see that not enough attention is paid here. And it's important. Why is it important to pay attention to defining the persona? It's important because you need to have an image of who you are talking to all along the process. And here is a very simple prompt to do that with AI. You can do two things. You can talk about your target audience and your communication objective. And then you have a good start. And then what you do is you ask the AI tool with that information to create, let's say, 2 to 5 user personas based on that information. In our case, target audience, pitch coaches and mentors, and our communication objective, how might we convince pitch coaches and mentors to use our pitching tools and run a course together? Then the AI, on the press of a button, 10 seconds later, normally you have your 5 user personas, and they are pretty okay. And then what you need to do is to pick one, and then you're going to focus on that one. In our case, it's the seasoned veteran. We call him Jan. We give him a name as a good practice. And here, if you look at the profile, it tells you a bit of his needs and goals and his motivation to use our tools. And that was the result of the AI. We find it good to go. And what really helps is to add a photo. Why? It's interesting to have a photo because it creates a picture in your mind of who you are talking to. So it makes it very real all along the process. And I have a small story here. I used to work for an internet company in Germany. And what we would do, we would put those guys, so the personas on the wall of the office, so we would see them every day. So they would go into our mind. Okay, so we've chosen a persona, Jan. Then we are ready to go into the 5-step process with your customer persona in mind. And this is where you can use our PitchMaker tool. Our PitchMaker tool, you will find the link at the end as well, so you can use later. And you can access this free tool at tiny.cc/pitch-maker or via the QR code that is appearing right now. But what I'm going to do now is show you what you need to fill in that tool to make your life super easy, to make your pitch, and you will see it's super fast, it's really straightforward. And so to do this, I'm going to keep up with my example of the course pitch making. And what I would like to tell you here is what you're going to see in the next slides. It's not the exact copy of the application. Because in our PitchMaker tool, the pictures are not extremely beautiful yet, but the application is fully functioning. But at least you get the idea of what you need to do there to create any great pitch. Okay? Are you still with me? Yes? Great. And the tool, that application with the QR code here again, that in the previous slide, sorry. The tool is super easy as 1, 2, 3. What you do is you answer questions. You get then immediate feedback from the AI, and then you improve what is given, or you continue. Then you click a button, and that's where the magic happens. You get your pitch at the end. Okay, so let me go through that process and the app in details. This one. The starting point, the first screen you'll see, is about your purpose. Your purpose, first you articulate why the pitch is important to you. Second, you need to define the goal of your pitch. Third, you articulate what your audience believes before your pitch. And fourth, you articulate how you want their belief to be transformed after your pitch. Okay? And key, everything needs to be short. it's better to be concise, to be straightforward. I'm gonna give you an example. In the next step, first you write in one line, like here, what is your pitch about? And if you need to get one thing especially good in this process I'm describing now, it's exactly this piece. And as an example, our pitch sounds like this. Helping people make better pitches is hard work. We've built a series of AI tools to make things easier. You should borrow some of our work. That's our pitch. So pretty concise. Then second, what you do is you support, like Lucy in the letter, you support with 3 key arguments. In our example, first argument, it's built on work with 5,000 startups and a new book on pitching. Second argument, easy. We have already done the work for you. Third argument, using AI, your work will be easier and more fun. You can stop worrying about the basics and focusing on helping people do better pitches. Then when you've done that, lastly, you click on a button and then you get the immediate feedback from the AI on how clear your purpose is. If it's clear, you proceed. If you don't find it clear, you refine and click the button again, and again if necessary. And you'll see the comments provided in the feedback are simple and straightforward. That's the power of the AI. The AI can be super concise, straightforward, a lot better than we usually do as humans. Oh, it's frozen. Okay. So if you're pointing in the right direction at this stage, the checkpoint number 2 is actually going through and filling out the presentation. And the body of the presentation, as we talked before, is about describing a problem, a promise, a proof, and a payoff. And then when you get these things right, and if you're in business, then you can add where the money is and where the passion is. And let me give you our example. In our case, it sounds like this. Problem. It's from Jan's perspective. So the audience, our audience perspective. I work hard helping, but the companies I work with still fail to deliver great pitches too often. I also spend too much time working on the basics instead of helping people build great pitches. And so the promise, AI tools your clients' mentees can use on their own to get the basics right. The proof in our case, we have already built the most important tools, an AI augmented tool, a book, a pitch review tool, sorry, and ways to turn this into a pitch deck. In our courses using these tools, we have gone from reducing the failure from 40 down to 5%. So this is our proof. And our payoff, with these tools, you can stop worrying about the foundations. You can go from teaching. Can I take this one? Sorry. I've lost the screen. One second, please. Okay. So in our case, the payoff is with these tools, you can stop worrying about the foundations, and then you can go from coaching, teaching the basics to really making something great. That's our payoff. Our profit is then a better use of your time and energy, less time spent fixing the basics, and you realize how concise that is. And the passion, very important to add, you'll be helping people make great pitches faster and easier. This could change the world. So this is the structure of the body of the pitch, and that's where what you fill in the application that I've mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't go. Okay, it's here. Okay. Okay. Sorry. And then, so we proceed from ideating the content to closing, to terminate. To close the pitch with passion, ideally, what we can do here is say something like this. Let's work together. Go to tiny.cc/pitchinfo to learn more. And why do this? And why do this now? To put a nice sense of emergency, we can articulate something like this. We have the tools ready to go, and we're happy to share. We are open to working with you, and there's a lot we could learn together, and it will be fun. And finally, you need to have a last line filled in, and that's about what they will remember. In our example, it sounds like, together we can help anyone, anywhere, pitch anything better and faster. Okay? So you fill all that in, you press a button, you click a final button, and what pops up is ta-ta-ta, magic. You get a first quick AI pitch. Here is how it looks like in our case. So now when looking through this, well, you might say it's not perfect. But in fact, it's not designed, the application, to produce something that is perfect. The application is designed to be something that fills up a blank page fast with something that is good enough and that you can edit and iterate again and again towards perfection. And in fact, when I do a quick read through, it actually looks rather good and good to go. I see a little bit of repetition in there, and then I edit, and it costs me probably about 10 minutes to do that. Why is this process and this application cool? It's cool, well, because it's easier than starting from a blank page. And there's a lot of time saved here. And if you think of it, as a human, producing short is hard, is super hard. In my case, if you'd ask me to give a 2-hour presentation, I would probably need 1 hour to prepare. But if you would ask me to give a 20-minute presentation, probably I'd need a day or two. But even more difficult, if you ask me to give a 3 to 5 minute good pitch, I'd probably need a few days. That's exactly where AI is super strong. AI is a lot better than us at making things short, provided you have a process that you give to the machine, and the result is good to go, as we've seen. From this point, what you can do then is to take that first version that you got from the process, from the application. So you take this text, and what you do is you go to our second application that we have. That second application is an evaluation app, and it provides you with a feedback for your pitch copy. A quick comment first. It looks, I would say, a little bit ugly, but it's working well, so you can really use it. So you take your text that has been produced from your first application, you plug into the box as shown here, you hit the pitch evaluation button, and you will see the result. The application you can follow under the QR code, and you will find the URL at the top as well. And let me show you what you get as a feedback. As a feedback, you get a scoring of the pitch, and you get key ideas to improve your pitch in lots of different areas. And here, as an example, is one of the 35 pitch prompts that you will find in the pitch evaluation tool. Well, actually, it's too small for you to read, but the intention here is to give you the idea of the results that you get out of this. What you'll see is shown on the right, the type of scoring, and what you see with that example, with that pitch, it gives a score of 117 out of a maximum of 150. And in your case, if you get around 120 when applying that application, if you get around 120, then consider it's an excellent score. So I invite you to go in that second application as well. And so the app will suggest you ways to improve in 14 areas. I won't read all of them. Let me highlight a few. So you'll get the pitch scoring. You will get indication on your weakest points of the pitch, and say you will find ways where you can improve and how you can improve. Okay? So it will really help you when you have the first application through to improve your pitch. And when you iterate, you'll be excellent. Now I can give you a quick recipe for success. What is interesting to do, I think, is to do 4 things. The first, present as much as possible, get feedback as much as possible, improve again and again and again. It's an iterative thing. Present again and again. You can go to a meetup event and present. You can speak at conferences. You can present to investors, etc. Maybe to your mom. And again, with the right questions. And finally, what you get, you will get something that is really good. Okay? Lastly, I would like to,
Let me jump in because I see a whole bunch of questions. How about if I take this from here and
Yes.
answer some of the questions that people have asked? Is that okay? I'll go from here to the end. Okay?
Good.
Okay. Hey, welcome back. Now so I see all these messages come in, and I'd actually like to answer a few questions that came in. 1, does this work in different languages? Yes, ChatGPT is amazing. You can put in your pitch template in Portuguese, in French, in Arabic, and it will make a pitch in the other language. Ain't that amazing? What's happening with the link? I don't know. I've got 3 developers that are doing things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is one of the problems you have when you're making your first versions of the app. And can I put the other links in here? I will send you the links at the end of the presentation where you will get the PitchMaker link and you'll get the pitch review app. In fact, I think between the two, they do very different things, but they do some amazing stuff. And the amazing stuff is it gets you from a blank page to something on paper quick. And then the idea that you can review this, you go back and forth, is, as Frederick was talking about, it's the process of make something, get feedback, make some. And the cool thing about AI is it'll give you feedback at 2 o'clock in the morning where no one else will. So I want to close this off with a couple comments. First, at the beginning here, I talked about a principle. When I see people making a pitch, what they do is they sit down in PowerPoint and they start pounding things out. Frankly, that makes a boring pitch. It makes slides that people are not going to be that excited about. What you need to do is focus on getting your story first. And if you have the content, it's easy to make a pitch deck. And I'm going to give you a way to do this in 10 minutes or less. If you go to PowerPoint, Keynote and things like that, they don't have the ways to do this, but there are some really clever ways to do it. The first thing that you can do is you can take your little pitch, your little talk or discussion. There's a prompt here, which is quite simple. Please act like a pitching coach, expert at making talks and pitches. Please make slides for a PowerPoint presentation based on this pitch. For each slide, provide a title, key bullet points, the script, and suggest images to be added. This is absolute magic, guys. This is something, it takes your ideas and puts it into an outline form really fast, really easy. And if ChatGPT was actually friendly, it would actually give you links to images that work, but it doesn't do that up until now. But what you can do is you can go to all of these deck making tools. There's two that I like a lot. One is called Dectopus and Presentations AI. The reason for it is they're focused on content and they produce some nice visuals. So basically, if you take that outline that ChatGPT made, you upload it as a PDF, in approximately 10 minutes, you push a button, it'll make your 10 slide presentation, and it'll look pretty good. The next stage along the way is actually to go one step further. And that's the last 3 points here on how do you go to make a deck. One, this is the most important, is one message per slide. 2, less is more. And 3, it's kill the bullet points, please. Bullet points kill your audience and it kills your presentation. So I promised you 5 fingers. I'm going to give you a way to remember this. So 5 principles. I can summarize that down. Make a story, then make a deck. 5 minutes, that one's not too hard to understand. 5 minutes or less. Don't make your presentation longer. Of course, you might be talking for an hour, but make sure that the bulk of your presentation, the real thing you have. The how-to is pretty simple. It's straightforward. It's actually think about a beginning, a middle, and an end. The 5-step process is doing it with AI. AI gives you an absolutely fantastic option. They don't care how brilliant your ideas are. They're not connected to you. They can kill your little darlings where they can write things quicker, easier, faster than you can. And they don't care if they offend you, which allows you to make a short presentation quick. And lastly, use AI to put everything together. So why is this important? Well, it's important because pitching is important. But more importantly, I can tell you that what happens is we've gone through this process with teaching lots of students. Before I teach courses with about 100 students at a time, which means I have 20 presentations per course. If you can imagine 40% of those fails, that's 8 presentations times 5 minutes and 40 minutes of suffering for everybody in the classroom. If we do this process, we train people on how to make a pitch. We give people a template that they fill in, which forces them to really think from the audience perspective. You know, when Frederick was giving you the fill in the blanks, they're not arbitrary, the fill in the blanks. It's forcing you to think from the audience perspective. You have an AI augmented pitch template and an AI-based pitch review. When you come down to, you get a 5% fail. Ruth, yes, it is free right now. Can you imagine that? So what a fantastic deal. So our promise to you is 90 minutes from zero to a great start. AI is not going to write a pitch for you. Working with AI, you might come up with a pitch. Now, I tried this sort of torture test. And I said, look, and I prefer to actually have a little bit of talk instead of reading this pitch out to you. But basically, what I could show you is that filling in the blanks getting the AI feedback, the AI version, in about 10 minutes, you can get a good 3 to 5 minute pitch. That is hard work. And I'm not going to read you the pitch, just going to tell you it's a good pitch. Next steps, we're building half-day and one-day trainings. We're excited about this. We've done about 10 companies right now where we do these type of pitch trainings. And we're looking for more companies to test things out. Each time we do this, we learn something. And we're excited about where it's going from here. If you want, there's a link here, www. And actually, if somebody could type this in the chat, that would be good. I'm sort of stuck. I've got my phone. So www.tiny.cc/pitch.ai. That is a survey about the talk today. You can tell me, was it interesting? Was it not interesting? But what's cool when you do this, you get some free stuff. You get free access to a course. You get to hear me talking again. I don't know if that's good or not, but it's a free course on pitching, 1 hour long. You get a 50% discount on our OpenAI for Innovation courses. You get a copy of my book. You get a copy of this talk, and you get links to all the tools to get you started. Hey, Jean, you're my pal. Thank you, guy. The last thing we have, and this is before we open up to questions and answers, we are running special right now for company trainings, and that is we typically charge somewhere between five and 8,000 for a typical one-day training. But we have a one-day training. We give out our book. We have the courses, the online courses people can learn. We give the pitch tools, and we have a group coaching after the event. And basically what we're doing is we're offering everything at half price for the future. Ruth, if anyone is here from academia, it would be a really cool thing for you to try this in your classes. Really, really cool. It's so hard to get students to make a good presentation. And as a teacher, it sucks. The advantage of doing a company training is we work on specific challenges and people work better learning in groups. And I think it'd be pretty cool. So the ending point of our talk is here. And I'm going to copy some things into the chat so that you have all the links. But basically, what I'd like to do is open things up. We got 8 minutes left. Did anybody believe what we said? Can you make a 3 to 5 minute pitch in an hour? Would it be any good? Who wants to give me a throw thing? I'm not a teach. Sold. Yes, Ruth, we got one in. Let's do this. So I see most of the people stuck around. That's a good sign. Does anybody want to ask a first question? Rolf, I see you're about to talk. You're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm grinning here. I was actually going to suggest one thing you could do. Pardon, I got laryngitis. Is ask it to create a Visual Basic script that creates the slides for you.
We did do that.
Oh, okay. I'm just laughing. That's all. Yes.
No. We did this, and actually, the Visual Basic gives you sort of an ugly presentation where it just fits things into spots.
Yeah.
Where when you use Dectopus or Presentations AI, it fills it in with cool visuals.
Oh, cool.
So the VBA thing we tried, we actually met with Microsoft because they're doing these things with new things on Copilot. And I said, wouldn't this be fantastic if it was running on everybody's desktop? And we didn't get to the point where they built it in where they could take the images over.
Mm.
So I'm going to give you the links here. Hold on just a second. Okay, next question up. Sorry, I'm multitasking. This is usually a bad.
What is this one? Romance to start. Okay.
Okay. So who else has a comment or a question? I'm putting all the links over on the side right now, by the way.
I'm curious to know if you also, after running your pitch on your tool, will also try to run it on another platform to see how solid your pitch is. Cross-platform play.
It is a really good idea. In fact, the tool that we use typically is ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is kind of cringeworthy in the way that it talks sometimes. So what we do is I suggest to students to run it through another platform called Hugging Face, and it sort of makes it sound more like human beings talking, and it feels a little bit better. But I think it's a good comment, and I think what you do is the more you use it, the better it comes out. Chester, I see you there. You're give me a question. Give me a tough one. I hope you're on mute. You have to unmute. Oops.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do after this is we will send you a link. And that link, in fact, you have the links in the chat right now. But the link to the chat gives you the presentation we made today, the prompts we used in the discussion today, and a link to the tools. I don't know why it wasn't working for some of you. We checked it this morning. It was working. Lo and behold, later in the day, something doesn't work. But, as somebody said, right now it's free, so you can't get better than the price it is right now. In fact, the plan is to make the PitchMaker tool free, but actually do the pitch evaluation tool as a freemium. So basically you get half of the results, but not all the results.
It's a good remark from Forrest.
One thing that can help us upload extend. Yes, Forrest, that does help a lot in terms of getting the. So Forrest's comment is, if you upload the way that you talked to ChatGPT before, you'll get better results. And yes, that's true. And that's good. Okay, one of the biggest struggles I see is people dealing with nervousness. Yeah, shit, that's tough. They say that, in fact, in terms of stress level, public presentation is just a bit after death. I mean, I guess that's about as stressful as you can get. Next comes divorce, moving house, and then public speaking. And, I can tell you when I deal with people, if I can get them to get the content right, their nervous levels go down. And even if they're nervous, you know what? Your audience likes you when you're talking. They don't care if you're nervous. And you probably feel a lot worse than the audience feels about you. But if you get the content right, usually the nervousness comes together. Okay, so we have...
My cousin Bertrand has a question.
Okay, cool.
Bertrand.
No, he doesn't have a question.
I saw
No.
a hand.
Okay, so that is it, everybody. So I'm going to ask you one favor. What was the order of public speaking fright? Well, death, divorce, moving, public speaking. And for some people, like my wife, public speaking is probably more scary to her than death. She just doesn't like talking in public. But I can guarantee you it's probably better than death. But anyways, thank you very much. There was a link there for the survey. We're trying to get this presentation right for an event coming up in Paris. And any feedback you could give would be really cool. And you get free stuff for doing it. So thank you, everybody. And bungee jumping. That's before pitch. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.